I've spent the last few hours going through and trying to get every single recent update that we have with these injuries. Okay, so we are going to make sure that you are most prepared to actually submit your starting lineup tomorrow morning. Interesting because we do have 2 Monday night games, so it's going to be very difficult when we have some of these guys that maybe are good to go, maybe aren't, but hopefully I can help out. And first off, let's actually real quick throw up hook 'em horns. You know we got to do this every Saturday, all right? We are going to put a beat down on Wyoming today. We can get to that a little bit later on, but instead, let's go ahead and let's dive into these, ladies and gentlemen. First thing is John Mechie's playing today. Okay, now realistically speaking, does this impact what we are going to be looking at from a submit you're starting? No, you're not starting anybody in Houston. Maybe you're a little bit less excited to go through and start Dalton Schultz now, but outside of that, you weren't starting anybody anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I am excited for a dynasty perspective and for some best ball teams where we drafted John Mechie, though. Now, Jerry Jeudy is going to be playing, and I actually embarrassed myself last night where I misread the report where Sean Payton's exact quote was, yeah, Judy's playing and he won't need a snap count, or I don't think he needs a snap count. I thought it meant he needed a snap count. No, Jerry Jeudy is 100% good to go. You're more than welcome to go through and start Jerry Jeudy this week. I will be full transparent. In the spots that I have Jeudy, I'm probably just going to wait to see him a week, similar to what we were doing with Terry McLaurin last week. These guys that are coming off their injuries, it's always better in my mind to at least just give him a week, see what happens, and then we can start Jerry Jeudy the week after he breaks out. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is questionable. DeAndre Hopkins did not practice at all this week. Now, we have reports saying that DeAndre Hopkins is preparing as if he's going to play, where don't exactly know what that means. Keep in mind, this is a wide receiver going into year 10 of his NFL career, right? If this is year 10 of his NFL career, he can go all week without practicing and still go and play. I will be definitely hesitant to start him, even if he does play, and I'd rather plan around DeAndre Hopkins in terms of him not playing this weekend. Now, Zach Moss is going to be the starting running back for the Indianapolis Colts. Not even on the injury report at all. Now, with that being said, if I'm going to be honest with you, probably not starting Zach Moss. It's going to be a very bad offense. This is going to be an offense where Anthony Richardson takes the majority of the production himself as a rusher, where I would prefer to just kind of avoid this situation. Maybe if week 2, we get a sense, okay, yeah, Moss is going to be a running back that's actually seeing targets out of the backfield, getting used in the red zone. Then week 3, we can start him. It's a bad offense. It's a low volume backfield and is Zach Moss. So I'm not too excited to start him. And Cordell Patterson will be playing. And now by no means should you go out there and get pumped to start Cordell Patterson, to roster Cordell Patterson, but it does maybe make you a little bit more hesitant on someone like Tyler Algier if they make this a 3-man split backfield. Now, we talked about this. You'll know Breece Hall was my clear sell high candidate this week. Hate to say it because I still truly believe, and I want to reiterate for the millionth time because people hate that I'm saying to sell him. Breece Hall is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. From a pure talent perspective, you can make an argument he's potentially top 5. The man is absurd, and I know everybody's excited to start him based off the breakaway runs he had against the Bills. And yes, occasionally that's going to happen with a running back that is uber talented. But to be fair, this is going to be one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Breece Hall is still going to be on a snap count. Dalvin Cook saw more carries, more receptions, more snaps last week. Breece Hall still coming off a torn ACL. So that's why Breece Hall remains a low-end RB2 for me, high-end RB3. And I want to reiterate for the millionth time, just in case you haven't heard me say a bajillion times by now, even though Breece Hall is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL, if we can sell him for another talented running back that is seeing significantly more volume and a significantly better offense, that's going to be something I'm looking to do. If we can sell Breece Hall and go get Travis Etienne, I would love that, even if that means we have to add in a player like Puka, someone we'll talk about later on in this video. But let me pull up our other reports, and as I get to these, of course, let me remind you, if you want to go check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy for this weekend, hook 'em horns, recommend to look at those Texas ones. But you can find the link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, Underdog is going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Plus, you will get our 2023 top 150 rest of season rankings and tiers that have been updated after yesterday. My favorite pick'em right now, if you're new to Underdog, is going to be a Joe Burrow special pick'em more than less than half a total yard that you're also going to get with promo code FLOCK. And on top of that, if you are on Underdog, please include Tua in your pick'em slip this weekend. Underdog's going to be giving away $10,000 to 10 separate people that include Tua's total yards. You can take higher or lower. Just please make sure you remember to do that. Promo code FLOCK's can get you all that. But our next situation we're going to be looking at will be in Houston. CJ Stroud popped up being questionable yesterday. Looks like Stroud is good to go. Do we want to start him? No. I mean, it does make the offense a little bit better. Makes you a little more inclined if you really wanted to go through, start Dameon Pierce. Now, our next guy we're going to be looking at will be, oh my gosh, is this not going to work for us? Come on. Here we go. Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is going to be a game time decision against the Jets. Now, if you look at Cooks, this was initially an injury that looked a lot more serious. It looked like Brandon Cooks was going to miss a considerable amount of time. Now, with that being said, by no means am I starting Brandon Cooks. Bad matchup, low scoring game. At the same time, he doesn't look fully healthy. But, I mean, definitely not someone that you should go through in a drop. Like, if we thought, I mean, this was going to be a wide receiver that missed a month, then I would say you could probably safely drop. Here, you probably can't. Now, Juju says his knee is 100%. By no means do you want to start Juju. Like, literally going over and looking at what you have here with the New England Patriots pick'ems for, I believe this is the Sunday night game. You have Juju Smith-Schuster only at 32.5 receiving yards, whereas you're sitting with Kendrick Bourne up at like 34, or I'm sorry, Kendrick Bourne's at 40. So by no means are you starting Juju Smith-Schuster. But with Juju being good to go, it does make you a little bit less likely to want to go through and start Kendrick Bourne. Now, our next guy that we're going to be going to will be Travis Kelce. Kelce's good to go. No hesitation. Play him. You can't play any wide receivers in KC. Hell, if none of them were startable with no Travis Kelce, none of them are startable with Travis Kelce. Now, Andrews, full participant in practice, should be good to go. Drop likely if for whatever reason you still have Isaiah Likely. And honestly, with both these elite level tight ends in Travis Kelce as well as Mark Andrews, not going to fault you at all if you say, okay, now they're good to go. Let me drop the backups. So if you were rostering, say, someone, I don't want to say Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz maybe a little bit better, but say someone like Isaiah Likely, right? And you had Travis Kelce and Isaiah Likely. Or maybe you had someone like, I don't know, a trash garbage tight end you picked up off the waiver wire last week. You can just drop them. If you have Andrews, if you have Kelce, you do not need another tight end on your roster. Aaron Jones did not practice at all this week. He's still questionable. He hasn't been ruled out. Now, I definitely want to be planning. I definitely want to be looking at starting A.J. Dillon. And if you have Aaron Jones in a full PPR format, you could still go in his direction if you really needed to, but probably avoiding it if we can. Now, what's interesting is Christian Watson did get into practice on Friday. And y'all know I love our guy, Christian Watson. I drafted him a lot. I'm excited to see what we have now with Jordan Love looking good in Green Bay. But to be fair, similar to the Jerry Jeudy situation, even if Christian Watson were to play, I'm not going to be that excited to start him this week against the Atlanta Falcons. Similar to what we said with Terry McLaurin last week, these guys coming off injuries, you can always see them week one, have them get fully acclimated, and then start them the second week back from their injury. But if Watson does play, Romeo Doubs is significantly less appealing. Now, Puka is listed as questionable, expected to play. We've said it all week. I'm going to reiterate. It's a horrendous matchup against the 49ers. We have a Cooper Kupp update at the end of the video, which will show that, yeah, you probably only have 2 to 3 more weeks of Puka being viable. So if you can, I'd bench Puka this week. And honestly, if you can, I would go through and look to sell him in a package, get an upgrade somewhere else. Similar to what we were talking about all week, selling Breece and Puka for Travis Etienne. If you have those two guys, which it seems like so many of us in the flock have Breece Hall, that's going to be something I'm looking to do. And I was wondering why everybody here has Breece Hall. Probably just because we like talented players in the first place, but obviously situations change. Now, Myers is not going to be playing against the Bills, and Devontae Adams will be good to go. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much standard week in Las Vegas. You start Adams, you start Jacobs, you don't really think about anything else. And, I mean, if you were to have Devontae Adams, say, miss a game with this foot injury and Myers is still in concussion protocol, then in that instance, in that world, maybe Michael Mayer can all of a sudden be possibly intriguing. But no, if you look at all the targets in Las Vegas last week, like literally over 50% of the targets. I mean, probably over 60%. It was absurd. Very rarely will you ever see anything like this happen. Just went to Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. Now, our next guy will be Deontay Johnson. Deontay didn't practice. Deontay is going to be missing. I want to say George Pickens is a must-start guy, but if I go over and look at Underdog's pick'em for George Pickens, let me see. Now, we weren't able to get this on the screen, but they actually have George Pickens only at, I believe, 42.5 total yards. And obviously, these Underdog pick'ems, pretty good projections, right? I mean, if they were horribly wrong, Underdog would lose a lot of money. They're not sponsoring this channel because their projections are way off. So, I mean, I want to say, oh, no Deontay, definitely go through and start George Pickens. But to be fair, if Underdog only has him at like 42.5 yards, probably not as exciting. Now, Kendre Miller, it looks like he's going to play. And if Miller plays, ladies and gentlemen, all of a sudden, Jamal Williams is not the must-start running back he was last week. I thought he was a must-start back last week. I want to say I don't want to say we were right or wrong. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, he still did get every single touch, but it was just a very poor run game. Jamal didn't look that good. If Miller plays, Jamal Williams will be lower in our rankings, because I do think ultimately this would be a split backfield in that instance. Now, DJ Chark limited. So with Chark, not going to be someone that I'm super excited to go out there and play. Definitely have DJ Chark on a lot of best ball teams, but the issue with these like secondary, I mean, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 type options is even if Chark goes out there and balls out this week, right? It's like the Jacoby Myers predicament, or a better example would be the Kendrick Bourne predicament. Cool. He had a massive week on your bench. Do you feel comfortable starting him the next week? Probably not. That's what makes these guys at the bottom of your roster at wide receiver like so frustrating. They're definitely like nice best ball options, but I'd probably rather just go through and roster a running back that like Joshua Kelly, right? Where if Austin Eckler misses, we know for a damn fact to go through and put Joshua Kelly in. Now, Greg Dulcich not going to be playing, so this does make those receiving options in Denver maybe a little bit more viable, where now we have no Patrick, we have no Hamler, we have no Greg Dulcich. I know Troutman's going to get some work. Really not excited about Troutman. Maybe if you really wanted to go through and bump up Judy, you can. I think maybe Judy's going to be a little bit more of a week 3 option, at least in my mind. If you were desperate, you can start him. Now, CJ Stroud going to start, so I believe we are caught up everything there. Now, we have 2 more things. Austin Eckler will not be playing this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Joshua Kelly slides in, obviously not to be a high-end RB1 like Austin Eckler. He doesn't have the receiving down skill set to be that high-end RB1. But Joshua Kelly does slide in to go ahead and be, I want to say, a mid-running back 2. If Aaron Jones were to miss and Austin Eckler were to miss, Eckler looks like he's for sure missing. We don't know about Jones yet. I will keep you posted tonight and tomorrow morning. I would still rather have A.J. Dillon over Joshua Kelly, but I think both running backs are viable. And we did get the report. Sean McVay said the team hopes Cooper Kupp can return in week 5. I want to be careful to say, but the reason that we put him on the IR so that it's going to be those 4 weeks, then we can get him off the IR and we'll have him available the 5th week. That's the report. Obviously, this is best case scenario. I think it's encouraging to see the Rams go out there and beat the Seahawks week 1. When they win against the Seahawks, I think it makes this team maybe a little bit more likely to go out there and try to contend, to not just completely burn this down. I mean, especially if you look, I believe they have like the Arizona Cardinals. They have a really nice matchup week 4. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it looks like the Rams can start off 2-2 through the first 4 weeks. And if that's going to be the case, I think they are significantly more inclined to go out there and pull Cooper Kupp off the IR, assuming that he's healthy. Obviously, big assumption. And for that reason, I probably still am going to reiterate that I think Puka, if he is currently on your bench, is a sell. If it's like a 12-team league where you start 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes, you need Puka, keep him. He's going to be someone we can start over the next few weeks. However, if it's like a 10-team league where you only have 1 flex, where you're not starting Puka anyway, where you just have like a little bit of name value on your bench for no apparent reason, and Kupp may come back later on in the season, so you may not even get to use him during the buys. In that style format, you're going to be much better off packaging with another option inside your starting lineup to try to get an upgrade, clear up a roster spot, and make some plays on the waiver wire after this week. But I believe that's everything we have in terms of the updates. Please let me know in the live chat if y'all have any questions regarding injuries, not start sit. We'll get to start sits later on. And we are 2 likes away from hitting 300 likes on this live stream. So go down there, drop a like on the stream if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel. I mean, hell, we have streamed for 141 days in a row at this point. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you will get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. We just updated our top 150 rest of season rankings and tiers. Plus, you will get a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the Baltimore Ravens. And if you're on Underdog, please make sure you're including Tua in your pick'em slip. They're going to be giving away $10,000 to 10 people this Sunday who include Tua's total yards. You can go either higher or lower. And also, if you include Travis Hunter, the wide receiver that's playing for Colorado, they're doing a boosted pick'em where it's just going to be doubling your odds of winning, right? So if it was going to be initially, say, a 20x parlay, if you include Travis Hunter's total yards, either fewer or lower, it's going to be going to 40. If it was like a 3x parlay, then it's going to be going to like 6, if that makes sense. But I think that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. I'll be live later today, tonight, and tomorrow morning to keep bringing you updates. So, yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Really do appreciate you, and really hope I get to see you out with the live stream later today.